The Last Confession. The prison cell was dimly lit, the only sound the slow drip of a leaking pipe. Daniel Carter, convicted of 3 murders, sat on his cot staring at the floor. His execution was set for the following month. He had accepted his fate, almost. "I need to see a priest," he told the guard. Hours later, Father Thomas Hale arrived, a kind-faced man in his 60s. He sat across from Daniel, waiting for him to speak. "I killed 2 people, Father," Daniel said, his voice steady. "2 innocent lives, and I deserve what's coming. But the 3rd one, that wasn't me." Father Hale frowned. "Then why didn't you tell the authorities?" "I did," Daniel snapped, "but they didn't care. The evidence lined up too perfectly. I broke into the house that night. I stole from them, but I didn't kill that man. The real murderer is still out there, living his life, thinking no one will ever find out." The priest leaned forward. "What do you want me to do?" Daniel exhaled. "I need someone to listen, someone who won't just see me as a lost cause. I don't know who to turn to, Father, but I need justice for the 3rd murder I never committed. Please find someone, anyone, who can help uncover the truth." Elliot Grayson, a private detective, sat in his small office, sipping a cup of coffee when Father Hale arrived. He listened patiently as the priest relayed Daniel's confession. "It's been 6 years, Father," Elliot said, shaking his head. "The case is closed. No one's going to reopen it." "Then don't reopen it," Father Hale said. "Just see if he's telling the truth." Elliot sighed, but something about the story nagged at him. If a man about to die was asking for justice for someone else, maybe there was something worth digging into. He reached out and pulled out the old case files through his connections. The authorities believed Daniel first robbed a house in Everett Hills, killed 2 people there, then traveled across town and killed another man in Brookside during an attempted robbery. Elliot drove the route himself. From Everett Hills to Brookside, it took him 40 minutes by car. On foot, especially at night, it would have taken at least an hour and a half. But 6 years ago, the Brookside Bridge didn't exist. Back then, Daniel would have needed to take the ferry across the river. If the last boat had already left, he wouldn't have been able to get to Brookside in time to commit the murder. Elliot checked the old ferry schedules. The last boat had left at 10:30 p.m. According to the timeline, Daniel should have reached Brookside by 10:45 p.m., just before the estimated time of death. "It's cutting it too close," Elliot muttered. Even if he took the last boat, he'd have had to run straight from the dock and kill the man instantly. Something doesn't add up. Elliot revisited Daniel's statement. He had heard water running in the backyard when he arrived. He hid in the bushes for 15 minutes before breaking in, only to find the homeowner already dead. Elliot considered the possibility. What if the real killer was the one using the tap, cleaning off blood, washing a weapon? And what if they escaped out the back while Daniel was waiting in the front? Going through the case files, another detail stood out. A glass of juice left on the coffee table. A neighbor, George Langley, had admitted to visiting the victim that night around 10 p.m. He said they talked for a bit. Then he left. Elliot checked Langley's financial records. A month after the murder, he made large payments to settle old debts, but there was no sign of him receiving such a large sum legally. Elliot paid George Langley a visit, posing as an old friend of the deceased. "Terrible thing. What happened to Mr. Simmons?" Elliot said casually. "You were the last one to see him alive, right?" Langley nodded. "Yeah, we talked for a while. I left around 10. "Are you sure about that?" Elliot asked. "Police records say you left before 10. Langley hesitated. Yeah, before 10. That's what I meant. Elliot smiled. Funny thing is, the coroner said the murder happened at around 10:45 p.m. If you left before 10, how did the juice on the table stay cold until the police arrived? Langley paled. Elliot leaned in. You killed him, didn't you? You owed money. He refused to lend you any, so you waited until the neighborhood was quiet, then hit him from behind with something from his own kitchen. You washed the blood off at the backyard tap and left through the back. The only reason you got away with it was because Daniel Carter showed up afterward, and the police pinned it on him. Langley's hands shook. I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted the money. I panicked. Elliot pulled out his phone. That's all I needed to hear. The police arrested Langley the next morning. Daniel Carter was still executed for his other crimes, but in his final days, he learned the truth. I just wanted justice for one person, Daniel told Elliot when they met one last time. Guess that's the only good thing I ever did. Elliot watched as Daniel walked to his prison cell. He wasn't a good man, but in the end, he had done something right. And that's the end of the story. Hope you learned something new. Thanks for watching.